Just look at that face of yours. Did you just emerge from an agonizing 8-hour life or death meeting?
8 hours would be a blessing. It was merely a 2-hour grueling session, but solely to brace ourselves for a 3-hour marathon tomorrow.
Absolute peak performance. Actual productivity is scarce, yet the capacity to conjure up meetings is boundless.
I'm beginning to suspect this company runs on sheer scheduling rather than actual products.
Who knows? Come year end, the boss might declare, "This year, we achieved monumental success by shattering the record with over 1,000 meetings."
And the grand reward for the staff? Yet another meeting to reflect on our collective experience.
If that actually comes to pass, I'd hand in my resignation right on the spot.
By the way, my office put on an absolute masterclass in comedy today.
I can tell by your tone, it's about your colleagues again, isn't it?
Spot on. One guy dropped a desperate plea in the group chat. "Hey everyone, is anyone free to throw me a lifeline?"
And then, did the entire group just evaporate into thin air?
Not at all. Everyone was glaringly online, green dots illuminated, yet the chat was as silent as the grave.
Ah, being online simply means they're occupied elsewhere, not that they have time to spare.
Exactly 10 agonizing minutes later, drowning in despair, he followed up with, "Never mind, I'll figure it out myself."
Let me guess. That's the exact moment the whole group magically surfaced, showering him with heart emojis and chanting, "Hang in there, and you've got this," right?
How did you foresee that so flawlessly? Down to the very last word.
It is the immutable law of the corporate realm. When you are buried up to your neck in work, someone will inevitably saunter over and ask, "Busy?"
And if you foolishly reply with utter honesty, "Yes, I am completely swamped,"
They will counter with, "Well, just squeeze this in and help me out for a quick second."
and their quick second perpetually devours at least 2 hours of your precious life.
Or perhaps even swallows up the entire afternoon.
That pales in comparison to my boss yesterday. He cornered me and said, "David, give me 5 minutes."
To dump another urgent task on you?
Not at all.
To interrogate you about a looming deadline?
Strike two.
Then what on earth was it for?
To elaborate on a new project, a monologue that seamlessly evaporated 45 minutes of my existence.
So, where exactly did those promised 5 minutes fit in?
They must operate in the time zone of some alternate dimension.
Tell me, do you ever look around and realize the office is merely a miniaturized classroom?
How so? I don't quite see the resemblance.
Just ponder it for a second. The boss assumes the role of the strict homeroom teacher, and your colleagues are basically just your classmates.
Ah, that actually makes perfect sense. There's invariably that one hyperactive soul who volunteers to speak at every single gathering.
And the eternal slacker who times their bathroom breaks perfectly just to dodge any actual labor.
Not to mention the perpetually bewildered one who always cries, "Wait, I never received that email."
But the true standout is the shadowy figure lurking in the back corner, silent as a phantom, yet the very first to know every single office secret.
Haha, flawless observation. Speaking of which, my department harbors an absolute, living legend.
A legend in what sense? Do tell.
In every single meeting, he sits there radiating profound seriousness, his pen furiously scribbling away in a notebook. Anyone glancing over would crown him the model employee of the year.
And I take it he's not?
Not even close. He's meticulously drafting his grocery list for the post-work supermarket run.
Ha ha! That is a masterful manipulation of time.
Once, I managed to sneak a covert glance at his notepad.
And what brilliant insights were documented.
Eggs, fresh milk, dishwashing liquid.
Seems mundane enough.
But at the very bottom, double underlined and etched in bold capital letters, it read, "Absolutely do not forget your wife's birthday."
So, as it turns out, that soul-crushing meeting practically salvaged a marriage.
Yet, all of that pales in comparison to our office printer. That machine is the most enigmatic entity in the building.
Office printers are notorious troublemakers everywhere you go.
When it's completely ignored, It purrs like a kitten. But the very second an urgent document needs to be presented to the boss.
It mysteriously runs out of ink?
No,
Let me guess, a paper jam?
wrong again.
What demonic possession takes over it then?
It simply flashes one chilling phrase on its screen: unknown error.
Typical. Even the machines harbor their own dark, unspeakable secrets.
The entire department circled it in utter defeat. And then, our ultimate savior emerged from the shadows.
Who was it? The head of IT.
No, the cleaning lady. She casually strolled by, silently yanked the plug from the wall, paused for exactly 5 seconds, and shoved it back in.
And that resolved it?
Like magic, the machine whirred back to glorious life. From that fateful day forward, she became the undisputed grand sorceress of technology in my eyes.
So, whenever the machine throws a tantrum now, you summon her?
No, I've pilfered her sacred technique. At the slightest hint of trouble, I just brutally yank the cord.
Does it actually yield results?
For the printer, marvelously, but inflicting it upon my personal laptop hasn't produced quite the same triumph.
But upon deeper reflection, the true joy of the workplace is that one angelic colleague who incessantly smuggles snacks into the office.
They transcend mere colleagues. They are our culinary guardian angels.
No grand speech is required. The mere rustle of a cookie tin being opened is enough to warm the coldest heart.
True departmental unity is often forged over nothing more than a platter of shortbread or a fleeting cup of bubble tea.
However, there is a sinister breed that terrifies me. The ones who parade a box of pastries around the room, loudly proclaiming, "Would anyone care for a treat?"
Sounds like a paradise. What's the problem?
The agony sets in when you eagerly throw your hand up shouting, "I do," only for them to coldly deadpan, "Oh, I was just being polite. They're all gone."
Haha, now that is a devastating psychological betrayal. But in all sincerity,
What is it?
even though the relentless pressure of this job frequently makes me want to flee to the mountains and embrace life as a hermit.
You still strap on your armor and march into the office day after day, don't you?
Precisely. Because it's these hilariously absurd, insignificant little moments that strip away the sheer exhaustion of the daily grind.
Absolutely.
A wildly inappropriate, consequence-free joke.
A sacred cup of morning coffee.
Or finding that one kindred spirit of a colleague who willingly shoulders the chaos with you.
And, of course, a profoundly patient friend who tolerates your endless dramatic venting all afternoon.
I truly appreciate you graciously adopting the role of my therapist today.
The pleasure is mine, but you'd better brace yourself.
Why is that?
Because the next session is entirely mine, and my ledger of workplace grievances is twice the length of yours.
Fair enough. The coffee will be firmly on my tab.
Tell me, David, have you ever noticed that the older we get, navigating the dating world feels increasingly like surviving a grueling corporate interview?
It's terrifyingly accurate. Barely 5 minutes into sitting down, you're immediately thrust into a high-stakes elevator pitch of your entire existence.
Greetings, I am EMNA. My core competency includes perfectly boiling instant noodles in exactly 3 minutes without so much as glancing at a timer.
A distinct pleasure to meet you. As for my greatest weakness, I require a sequence of 6 alarms, spaced at meticulous 5-minute intervals, just to peel myself out of bed.
Oh, the horrors do not stop there. Inevitably, the adversary deploys the classic psychological trap. Where do you envision yourself in 5 years?
Good heavens, if it's the first date, my only overarching ambition is to survive the next 2 hours without spontaneously combusting at the table.
Merely conjuring that image sends a shiver of pure anxiety down my spine.
Speaking of interrogations, on my last blind date, my companion unleashed a psychological weapon of a question.
What manner of inquiry could possibly leave you stumped?
Barely after we took our seats, she locked her piercing gaze onto mine and asked, "Are you prone to lying?"
Heavens above! That is an inescapable labyrinth. A confident yes eliminates you before you even cross the starting line.
And an immediate, no reeks of deceit. My brain completely short-circuited for a solid 5 seconds.
How did you manage to wriggle your way out of that one?
I smoothly replied, "Well, that highly depends on the ongoing promotional offers, my dear."
A masterstroke of deflection. How did she respond to that?
It earned a chuckle, though she promptly categorized me as a high-risk individual requiring extreme caution.
So, drawing from the vast wisdom of a high-risk individual, what is the most tactically sound cuisine for a maiden voyage?
You must brutally boycott anything that demands gnawing, anything fiery enough to provoke a weeping, red-nosed spectacle, and above all, anything notorious for lodging aggressively between your teeth.
Spoken like a battle-scarred veteran. Have you fallen victim to such a catastrophe?
A deeply traumatic casualty. Once, I confidently ordered a salad. I spent the entire evening radiating charisma, only to return home, glance in the mirror, and face the horrific reality of a massive, vibrant green leaf reigning supreme over my front teeth.
For the entirety of the date?
For exactly 2 hours and 15 excruciating minutes.
And she didn't possess the sheer humanity to alert you?
I assume she mistook it for a bold, avant-garde statement, perhaps some extreme eco-friendly dental aesthetic.
Lord have mercy on your leafy fashion. Meanwhile, I was once ensnared by a suitor whose politeness bordered on the neurotic. Like clockwork, every 5 minutes, he would whisper, "Are you finding me acceptable?"
The poor man must have been drowning in an ocean of insecurity.
The first time, I offered a reassuring smile and said, "You're perfectly fine." 10 minutes later, the echo returned. 20 minutes later, it struck again. By the climax of the evening, I had to bite my tongue to stop from asking, "Are you entirely certain your psychological state is stable?"
Haha, that is a lethally brilliant counterattack. Consider it permanently etched into my survival handbook.
Jokes aside, modern romance is profoundly exhausting. Everyone is relentlessly curating this flawless, immaculate facade, both in the digital ether and in flesh.
While underneath the veneer, we are chaotic beings who constantly wander into rainstorms without umbrellas, chronically let our phones die, and utterly forget our wallets.
Do not dare tell me you have abandoned your wallet on a date.
Oh, it is a grim reality. It wasn't until the bill manifested that sheer panic struck, forcing me into an agonizingly humiliating apology.
Did she erupt into a fiery rage?
Remarkably, she merely smiled and graciously fronted the cost with her card. Drowning in mortification, I vowed an instantaneous digital transfer. Yet, the tragedy had only just begun. My phone chose that precise nanosecond to brutally die.
Meaning, you were entirely paralyzed financially? What did you even do?
I had no choice but to beg her to stay put while I sprinted like a madman to an ATM 2 blocks down. Upon my breathless return, her face was a canvas of pure bewilderment. She had undoubtedly just endured the darkest moments of her life, utterly convinced I had executed a phantom escape.
After orchestrating such chaos, do you still put any faith in the fabled first impression?
Unquestionably. It serves as the vital gateway to any connection. Yet, it is far from the final verdict.
What brings you to that conclusion?
Because you inevitably encounter souls masked by an icy, impenetrable fortress, yet once you venture past the walls, you unearth a profound warmth and radiant humor.
Absolutely. And conversely, there are those wrapped in dazzling eloquence, yet possess zero capacity for genuine empathy when you truly need them. A touch of authentic clumsiness can be infinitely more treasured.
My thoughts precisely. We don't need to relentlessly masquerade as flawless deities or billionaires.
A foundation of profound respect and a sharp dash of wit are genuinely all that's required.
Precisely. The external world is already a crushing weight. If you cannot share a roaring laugh over absolute absurdity with your partner, it becomes an unbearable existence.
I once stumbled upon a rather poetic notion. The ultimate companion is not the one who evokes your brightest laughter, but the one who fiercely remains by your side when the world has stolen your every smile.
That cuts incredibly deep. Authentic romance isn't merely a tapestry of sunlit days, crimson roses, and extravagant gifts.
It is the raw reality of unkempt hair, the quiet acceptance of an expanding waistline, and enduring the storms of irritable frustration brought on by reality's grind.
And those rare, golden silences, where you can simply bask in each other's orbit completely serene, without the agonizing pressure to fill the void with meaningless chatter.
That right there must be the mythical tranquility every soul is desperately hunting for.
One day, when the universe finally aligns and I cross paths with my match, I pray the burden of acting perfect will finally be lifted.
As for myself, my only craving is to discover a kindred spirit willing to share in triumphant laughter every single day.
But what of the bleak, ash-gray days where joy seems entirely extinct?
We would simply resurrect our ancient, embarrassing archives to invoke the humor ourselves, staring at our inaugural date, perhaps, as a testament to when we were both so paralyzed with awkwardness that we gripped a water glass with two hands like it was the World Cup trophy.
Even the mere vision of that is staggeringly charming.
Love, stripped of its complications, is a marvelously elementary force, isn't it?
Speaking of love descending into domesticity, sooner or later, the veil drops, and your partner bears witness to your most bizarre, unhinged habits.
Spot on. The honeymoon phase is purely cinematic perfection until cohabitation strikes and you are blindsided by the revelation that your partner conducts impassioned debates with the refrigerator.
Wait, how on earth did you uncover that? I am an absolute mastermind of that exact practice.
Are you serious? You actually serenade kitchen appliances? What could possibly be the subject of such a symposium?
I swing the door wide and plead, I beg of you, conjure up just one more carton of milk. Yet, the machine only ever responds with a chilling, deeply disappointing silence.
If you think that is severe, my afflictions are far more neurotic. Every single time I depart my house, I lock the door, retreat precisely 3 paces, and then violently rattle the handle to confirm my security.
That is child's play. It's a common ritual for the sake of psychological peace.
But I proceed a few more paces, a wave of terror engulfs me, and I storm back to rattle it a second time. On my darkest days, I am forced to photograph the locked door, creating a literal alibi I can frantically review in transit.
Good Lord, you archive photographic evidence to sedate your own paranoia. Passers-by must assume you are a highly devoted metallurgical inspector testing the structural integrity of the steel.
And your own demons? Aside from communing with household electronics, what other twisted quirks do you conceal?
I am burdened by a staggeringly complex, pre-slumber alarm ritual. I trigger 3 consecutive alarms, each relentlessly spaced at a singular, precise minute apart.
Why an agonizing 1-minute interval? A rational human extends it to 10 or 15 minutes to milk every last drop of rest.
It is a masterful psychological trick to breed the grand illusion that I still possess countless opportunities to drift back into the void.
And which specific chime actually revives you from the dead?
The 4th, because after the initial barrage fails, I deploy an ultimate, apocalyptic backup alarm stationed half an hour later.
What is the earthly point of enduring the first 3 just to torture your own soul?
That is the very definition of a deranged quirk. Have you ever hosted a full-blown summit meeting with yourself?
Occasionally, but certainly not crossing the threshold into outright madness.
Oh, I facilitate aggressive internal board meetings. I operate as the aggressive prosecutor, while my alter ego sits as the defense. The eternal agenda, to devour this pastry, or not to devour. The vote always locks at a 50-50 stalemate, yet the stomach forever claims the tyrannical victory.
My burden is an ancient supermarket curse. I march in with absolute conviction to acquire a single vital item. Yet I inevitably wheel out a cart overflowing with plush pillows and confections, while the singular item I actually needed has been utterly annihilated from my memory.
So supermarkets truly are built on dark, memory-erasing sorcery. I once braved a convenience store strictly for batteries. I emerged, clutching a sleeping pillow, a pair of fuzzy slippers, and a miniature cactus. The batteries, naturally, were abandoned to the abyss.
What earthly purpose did a miniature cactus serve?
to enthrone upon my desk as a prickly, eternal monument to my catastrophic failure to buy batteries, naturally.
Reflecting upon it, it's delightfully bizarre. We all harbor these deeply unhinged eccentricities that we would fiercely guard from the outside world.
Indeed. Like throwing open the refrigerator, launching a 5-minute hypnotic stare into its depths without a single objective, slamming it shut, and then returning 5 minutes later entirely convinced a feast has magically materialized.
Or tearing your dwelling apart in a frantic crusade for a lost phone, whilst gripping that very phone to project a flashlight onto the shadows. Or launching a manhunt for your spectacles while they are literally mounted securely upon your face.
Oh, my cinematic delusions trump it all. I posture as the omniscient oracle, aggressively proclaiming, that sinister-looking soul is unmistakably the ultimate architect of evil. And mere moments later, that exact character suffers a heroic, sacrificial death to salvage humanity.
A catastrophic miscalculation. How do you possibly salvage your shattered dignity?
I smoothly pivot and declare, I intentionally floated a reverse theory merely to gauge the room's psychological response.
Your capacity for instantaneous deceit is undeniably world-class.
What about you? Do you harbor any deranged rituals regarding your musical consumption?
When a track captures my soul, I ruthlessly weaponize the repeat button, blasting it relentlessly until it induces pure nausea. Then, months later, I stumble upon it and plunge headfirst into a viciously renewed addiction, as if we had never parted ways.
We are such beautifully absurd creatures, yet it is precisely this mosaic of unhinged eccentricities that carves out our distinct identities.
In my youth, I foolishly imagined adulthood was an era of flawless sophistication and profound maturity. The bitter reality? Adults are merely oversized children weaponizing their paychecks to fund their own caffeine addictions.
Oh, that is devastatingly profound. By day, we drape ourselves in corporate armor, eloquently steering boardrooms. By dusk, we transform into bewildered phantoms, standing in the cold glow of a refrigerator, violently struggling to remember our original mission.
Taking everything in, I must profoundly thank you for this chaotic afternoon.
For the coffee?
For the revelation that, every time we converse, my most erratic, grotesque clumsiness suddenly feels entirely mundane. I am freed from the exhausting crusade for perfection.
The sentiment is entirely mutual. Every human mask slips to reveal foolishness and blunder. What matters is unearthing a sanctuary, someone you can unleash these tales upon, without the venomous sting of judgment.
So, if the day ever arrives where you witness me violently throttling my front door handle 5 times in a row,
I shall stand firmly by your side, rhythmically counting out loud to preserve your energy, but should you strike it a 6th time,
what then?
I will drag you away for another round of coffee, so we can forge yet another gloriously absurd tale to recount at our next encounter.